The Euphoric brothers are scum, and their game ideas are dumb. Most of the game you will run, yet no matter what happens, you will not have fun. It's snowing on Mount Fuji. That was my horrible haiku for this development team, responsible for Garten of Banban, or Banban, as the bros themselves call it.
Garten of Banban.
Anyway, today's video is about a weird success story. Garten of Banban. I'm gonna call it Garten of Banban. Because yes, I know it's kindergarten, but calling it Garten of Banban makes it seem a bit amateurish. I mean, they are. I know kindergarten is spelled with a T because it's a German word, but I think would just make more sense and look better as Garten of Banban. But that's not too important. Anyway, it's an indie horror game series made by two brothers calling themselves Euphoric Brothers. And this is not their first game, nor their first development team. Most people talking about this game series and development team, which from this point onwards in my video, I'm just going to call the Banban Bros, because that rolls off the tongue so much better. Usually the people who talk about the series and the Banban Bros kind of just talk about the games and how unprofessional sometimes the Banban Bros are on Twitter or whatever. And also mention their school shooter simulator game. Come on, it's already a bad story. Like I'm not one for story-driven games usually, but goddamn, a school shooter simulator, really? Anyway, but I went deeper, of course. I shouldn't have though. As with my Spyro video, I will try to make a nice and big video that covers most of the info that you need to know.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Garten of Banban. Yeah, just roll. This is the story of Garten of Banban. It was an evening the same as any other. I was either A, slacking off playing Spyro.
That's a Skyland.
So, for some background information about the Banban Bros, that will help you understand my frustration with these two and their shitty games, because they are shitty, literally. They made a fucking game called Poo Poo Monster or something. It's an April Fool's joke still, but why waste your time, honestly? I said that this is not their first time making games, of course, as you can see by their Steam page. But remember that I also said that this is not their first development team? After some digging, I managed to connect a few dots, introducing the Prime Movers, or TPM, Mover Games, an enigmatic dude. Not sure which one they prefer, because they clearly couldn't figure out which one to go with. The official Reddit account for the Euphoric Bros, or the Banban Bros, the handle being Fateh Basha. I hope I pronounced that right. This will be important soon enough, don't worry. They would shamelessly advertise the games by spamming it onto different subreddits, some of which were barely related to their games in any way, if at all. And while going through their post history, I found some funny, more personal posts, if you will. When did getting a boner ever help you in a non-sexual situation? If you can eat someone's ass right now, whose ass would it be? I'd say Banbalina. I got a bit sidetracked, but to connect the dots, the Banban Bros Reddit account is crucial thanks to their unchanged handle, Fateh Basha. Simply googling Fateh Basha and adding game to the search will give you a bunch of accounts and links to websites like Newgrounds and whatnot that shows you that the Banban Bros are connected to this past company. And if you don't believe me, here's the official Banban Bros Reddit account, specifically saying that they are the developer of the game made by the Prime Movers Games, or whatever they felt like calling themselves that day. It's not of too much importance, but it proves that the Banban Bros have been trying to make a game for a while, at least 6 to 5 years. So I would say that they have no excuse for being inexperienced, so why are their games still so fucking bad? I would say it comes down to being lazy, and if not lazy, then it comes down to rushing the game and not understanding the importance of details in the game, and also letting greed take over too soon. Why are the chapters entirely new games instead of DLC or something? Probably because the Banban Bros don't know how to add it to an already fleshed out game. It also lets you earn more money from stupid kids who just has to know what happens in Banban 64. It also makes sense from a productive view. Think of it like this. You have already drawn a nice little drawing on a piece of paper, and you've decided to add some more stuff to it, like a background or whatever. Instead of working around the ink you already put on the fucking paper, you just straight up get a new piece of paper, draw the background or whatever you want, and you just plaster your character onto it, and boom, you've quickly added something onto something you already made, and it looks a bit nicer too. Now, the problem with my example, however, is that it's nowhere near what the Banban Bros do when they make a new game. Notice how at every start of each chapter, you start off somewhere new? That's probably because they scrapped the entire previous map from the last game, and only use the elevator as a starting point and ending point, thus allowing them to just keep shitting out games and keep building on their story and lore. It's an easy way to do it, but a lazy way. You also waste a lot of the effort you put into a map anyway, since most users will only experience it once and then it's gone. I don't know whether or not the Banban Bros realized this, but they probably did, subconsciously, because the maps get emptier and become more similar to the insides of a cardboard box. It's a fucking box. It's a cube. If there is a hallway or a staircase, there are rarely any other details to fill in the empty spaces, and they only care to add details and objects to a room if you're meant to spend a decent amount of time in it. Even then, the quality dolphin dives down to hell as you progress through the games. Now you can say that it's supposed to be empty or whatever, ooh, liminal space, ooh, but fuck out of here with that bullshit. You know damn well this game is not a parody, or supposed to be taken as a joke. That is just an excuse either used by people who don't want to believe that they're being scammed, or by the Banban Bros themselves, who are trying to gaslight you into believing that they are in on the joke, as an excuse to cover up how horribly made this cash grab of a series is. If it was a parody, I would rather it be free, honestly, but it's not a joke, so. Staircases with no end pieces that are clearly just copied and flipped during the world building to speed up the process, but I caught you, bitch. Gaps in the floor for no reason, the drone flying through the staircase / the roof, free asset flipped card that you found on the Unreal Marketplace. I found this on page 2, by the way. 1 billion vertices on this piece of shit of a remote. Why do the maps go from detail to just vast open spaces to connect sections together? Windows upon windows, and none of them have a fucking edge or border to them. I mean, none of the rooms really have any borders or details that fills out the room, mostly. It's not a big detail, but it goes a long way and proves that you actually care about the map design, rather than it just being a bunch of colored cardboard boxes, you know. The assets used also go from being clearly made by the Banban Bros to clearly being made by someone else, which makes the game look extremely awkward and mismatching. It's like if the simply modeled objects are Minecraft characters, but the more detailed assets are the tits in a futuristic hub animation video. Why is there a Grand Canyon between your tits? If you want a better look at the 3D models of the Banban series, just take a look at Emil Spence 3D's Twitter account. They have a nice series of tweets talking about the modeling for this series, which I'll be talking about here now. Also, Nabnalina is just Nabnab with a different texture, and Banbalina's bow. Very nice job, Banban Bros. At least, the music is fitting for most of the games, but I've never really cared to look too much into music in any of my videos so far, and I really won't for this fucking video either. Though, oh god, oh fuck me. Though I would like to say that it wouldn't surprise me if it turned out that they got it for free somewhere, but they might have made it themselves. I don't know, who knows? But you know what? Music is sound, and sound is not exactly something the Banban Bros have mastered. Multiple times, the direction the sound is coming from sounds off, sometimes even to the point where I can fucking echolocate the exact position where they would put a speaker in a game engine that plays a dialogue, if you get what I'm trying to say. It really ruins the little amount of immersion that I had left. Not only that, but there's also sound being picked up by the microphone that isn't dialogue. I swear, there are multiple times where I heard the Banban Bros bumping into their microphone while recording dialogue.
Oh, thank God. I'm so glad you're here.
Over the course of the semester, of course you don't talk to ugly, unpopular kids like them.
And what is happening to Stinger Flynn's tentacles? And what's up with the size? How come he just changes size so many goddamn times depending on where you want to put him in the game? Not only is it annoyingly convenient that multiple characters just show up whenever they want to, but they go from being evil to nice. Evil, nice. Dead, alive. To big, to small. To evil, to helpful. Simply put, the script sucks, and the Banban Bros put whatever character they need on the screen to tell a shitty story. And you might stand up from your stroller and you might say,
but it doesn't have to make sense. It's supposed to be confusing and scary and all over the place. The Banban Bros are trying to tell a story about existentialism and a need to belong, to put our differences aside and live life for what it is. Life is too short to hate people who are different compared to ourselves. We need to embrace the unknown and learn to love each other. Hedgehog's dilemma, the Schrodinger's cat, All life is beautiful, and we need to stop and smell the flowers and enjoy every single little bitty moment given to us in our short and unpredictable life. It is about the journey, not the destination, and the real journey are the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, that's cool and all, but this is a shitty $5 to $10 cash grab aimed towards kids that is poorly made and has a very unprofessional PR campaign, on Twitter at least. To dial it back a bit, some of you might defend the Banban Bros and try to tell me that game development is hard. Making a game is not hard. Making a good game is a slightly bigger challenge. Unique Geese made a video talking about how he recreated or reimagined the first chapter by himself in Unreal Engine, and the end result is 100 times better than what the Banban Bros put out. Now, to be fair, Geese wasn't completely alone while making his version, but he apparently spent 1 week on it. The Banban Bros have about 6 to 5 years of game development, so what the fuck is going on? Anyway, Geese got some help from his friends that he planned to link in the description below, so we could go check them out. That was about 9 months ago. Where's the links, Geese, huh? And what the fuck is this ramble down here about? What is this? But anyway, to quickly summarize it, he reimagined the kindergarten of Banban and made the mascots more believable, because who the fuck would allow this at a kindergarten? He also talked about how he had to remove the drone as a feature since it was too complicated to code into the game, and opted to remove it. Which makes me wonder, why are the Banban Bros so hell-bent on keeping it in? It sucks. Sometimes it's even clear when you're supposed to be able to take your drone with you or not. Basically, when you right-click, the drone is supposed to teleport into the room that you're currently in, but this feature sucks ass because it's clear as day to me when the Banban Bros intended for me to have it with me, depending on whether or not it teleports to the room that I'm currently in at all, or to the closest checkpoint they gave it to the location that I'm currently in. Not to mention that it is also really fucking slow trying to process my commands, especially after I just gave it a command but it happened to bump into something and that I can't see, or when I teleport it to my room but have to wait a fucking year before it's ready to receive my commands again. The drone gimmick sucks like it currently is and needs a big revamp, or better yet, a removal. It's just a repetitive slogfest using the drone, and it's kinda stupid. I don't know about you guys, but I think most kids outside of the Middle East and Ukraine really don't see too many drones in their day-to-day kindergarten life. Trust me, that joke was way worse when I first came up with it. There is no real reason for the drone to be there, and what else is stupid? The videos explaining some of the work behind the first chapter on the Banban Bros YouTube channel. For example, they were planning to use Stinger Flynn as the main antagonist, but they opted for Opila, the stupid bird, instead.
It was its time to shine. And what can't birds exist without? Eggs.
Opila bird is unbelievably hungry. Feed it 6 eggs to win a prize. Are you fucking joking? Who in their right mind sees a bird and the first thought that pops into their brain is, bird eats eggs? The prize for solving this puzzle is a keycard, and are you telling me that random kindergarten kids would get this keycard that unlocks certain doors? My kindergarten life was a fucking police state in comparison to this, if kids are allowed to open and close random doors at their own leisure. The egg puzzle could be better in my opinion, if instead of eating the eggs, Opila sat on them to roost, I guess, and then one of them just so happened to hatch a keycard. Does it make any more sense than the original puzzle? No, but at least you wouldn't be giving off the notion that birds on the very regular eats eggs and throws up keycards. I mean, the keycard being inside of an egg would make some sense, considering that it's already inside of a Opila to begin with. I digress, I guess. And on the topic of kindergarten, what kind of fucking kindergarten is this? Elevators, medical sectors, kingdoms, big empty spaces and voids, and on and on and on and on and on and on. I kinda see what they're going for, but goddamn, I'm tired of seeing mascot horror that is trying to throw you a plot twist by implying that some evil corporation or scientists have been experimenting on the mascots or whatever, and that something has gone wrong. I wrote this part before the next part, where I go into a bit more detail about the story itself. It should say something about how predictable the storytelling is. Anyway, so to quickly explain how horrible I think the script or story is, I will put together a summary using the Garten of Banban fan wiki. Now only about 3 events in, and we go from an unknown incident occurring in the old kindergarten to the incident being a fire. Do keep in mind that this is a fan wiki, and this is probably the best I will get, right? The old kindergarten was running smoothly until some unknown incident occurred, which caused it to shut down, killing the people inside. or so they thought. Fuck is that? One of the children that died was a child named Josh. In the fire, a kid named Josh basically fucking croaks because fire is bad. The parents of Josh, of course being fucking retarded, instead of trying to conceive another child, decide to try and bring him back to life. Necromancy is quite an undertaking, I tell you. They then open a new kindergarten as a front for illegal science experiments. It sounds like fucking Breaking Bad. To bring him back, and they do not tell the scientists the true purpose of the experiments that they are being hired for. You know, if the parents are smart enough to start a whole evil scientist scheme and hiring other scientists without telling them what they really are working towards, you would think that they are smart enough to just fuck already. By Event 7, the first report on the fictional element Givanium was created. Google says Givanium. I'm gonna call it Givanium. Which, by the way, apparently Givanium has an infinite amount of protons and electrons, as seen by the fake periodic table symbol, which would make it incredibly dense, right? Just like the person responsible for the story of this series. Apparently, it's a material that is used to create living things and is used as a substitute for blood that circulates in inanimate things. That sounds fucking stupid, by the way. Anyway, Event 7 happens, and this is where a Givanium-infused mascot moved its arm for a split second, which was the first bit of progress in creating life. Yahoo! And in Event 7.5, Syringion was created to help with surgical procedures. But since Syringion had one of the lowest KAS scores, what a KIS is, I don't know. Only thing I found online is the kidney allocation system, which is a system and not a score in itself. The scores are simply called KDPI for donors and EPTS for longevity matching between a portion of donors and recipients. I could have gone my entire life without knowing this fact, but thanks to the Banban Bros, I am about 2 more medical facts away from becoming a general practitioner. Event 8, we get Banban, and they transferred his circulatory system to Givanium instead of the much less capable mammalian systems. What the fuck? Anyway, since Uthman Adam donated his DNA to Banban, you know, the whole thing about creating a being somehow and just giving it some human DNA sounds worse the more you think about it, so try not to. And since Uthman donated his DNA to Banban, Banban now has his memories and personality, pretty much, and thinks he's Uthman and not Banban. I mean, I've heard about cases where people act differently after getting a kidney transplantation or whatever, but we are about 8 events in out of 51 in 5 games so far. It would have been 6 if they released Banban 5, and if my commentary for the story seems rushed or disconnected and badly paced, it's because I'm writing this as I'm reading the full story on the wiki page. Event 9. Banban thinks he is human, and he describes an immense pain in his stomach for the first time. The kindergarten plans a meeting between Banban and Uthman. As you can expect from a horror game, the meeting goes to shit, and Banban suddenly becomes extremely angry and tries to attack the doctor. Banban was put in solitary confinement. Banban apparently goes insane while repeating Givanium, Pancreas, Beverly, and Uthman. Spooky shit, man. Banbalina is then created. Banbalina is actually nice, just like Banban, prior to the meeting with a human donor, so they don't set up a Tinder date with Banbalina and her human donor. Banbalina is placed into Banban's room, where upon seeing her, he runs up to her, gives her a hug, before returning to his corner. It sounds stupid, I know. After this meeting, Banbalina becomes more uncooperative by the day. But why? Sheriff Toadster is created using the DNA of a human and a frog. He only acts like a toad despite having DNA from a frog. It says he acts like a toad despite getting DNA from a frog. You would think that the Banban Bros, who are going for an extremely realistic take on a horror series, talking about kidney transplantation scores and periodic tables, would know the difference between toads and frogs. I mean, let's be honest, they pretty much created the black hole element. And for those of you who don't know, all toads are frogs, but not all frogs are toads. Frogs have long legs. Toads are manlets. Frogs have smooth, somewhat slimy skin. Toads have dry, warty skin, which, judging by Sheriff Toadster's texture, would make him a frog, and it would also make his name a terrible match. Event 15. Banban is injected with a new Juvanium solution that limits his intelligence and other brain activity, but this turns out to create his hellish form. This story sucks. Stinger Flynn is created and shows brain activity much quicker than the other cases. He did it on day 1, baby, while others took weeks. Now, I haven't mentioned it yet, but there's really no explanation on the wiki, or even talk about other cases other than there is about 2 to 6 cases, which makes the story seem so fucking improvised and all over the place. Maybe it's the wiki's fault? I don't know, and I don't care. Stinger Flynn is injected with an enhanced Juvanium solution, which makes him have human intelligence, including speech, but earlier, they gave a Juvanium solution to Banban to dumb him down. But here the solution makes a being smarter? What is this, the bell curve? Event 18. But after an altered Juvanium solution similar to the altered Juvanium solution applied to Sheriff Toadster, he's able to learn to master walking on 2 legs, ditch his nocturnal sleeping cycle, and completely stop mimicking toads. Who wrote this? I'm guessing they're trying to tell us that they gave Toadster a similar solution of Juvanium as the one they gave to Flynn. But whatever. Event 19. Opila is created. She's case 10 so far, with the goal of creating a monster that displays motherly love. They give her flamingo DNA and ostrich DNA. Opila undergoes, quote, genetic modifications, unquote, to give her motherly love, whatever that fuck. She then becomes extremely aggressive towards humans, except for kids, because she's a mom. She then escapes containment and saw and heard her children being harmed. This caused her to become extremely angry and her eyes became bloodshot. And I haven't thought about this so far. Why does Opila have children? Like, did she lay eggs? Event 22. The kindergarten has lowered the amount of active cases from 10 to 6 because they don't have enough money to buy the absurd amounts of Juvanium that Uffman is wasting on experiments like Case 12 and its subcases, this being Captain whatever his name is and his crew. They for some reason tell him to get ready for Bring a Friend Day. The scientists then are told to abandon development on cases 4, 9, 14, and 17. That's Syringion, Sheriff Toadster, Queen Bouncelia, and Bittergiggle. So they just dumped them in level 5 of the kindergarten, where they find Sir Dadadoo, another abandoned experiment and the son of Queen Bouncelia. From now on, I'll call Bouncelia for Bouncelia, because it sounds a lot better. Once again, the scientists start dedicating more resources to Flynn instead of Syringion because of Flynn's higher intelligence. Event 24. Beverly Mason.
Teenager! You!
Cares.
How can I get?
Beverly Mason, a kindergarten teacher and a scientist as well apparently. It's the person who's referred to as Miss Mason on the notes and scribbles left throughout the game. Writes a letter to Uffman saying that she is sorry that the kindergarten is dropping so many cases. She informs Uffman that he needs to keep Sulphius a secret, the big face seen randomly throughout the games, and this is what he looks like. He is just a head on a stick. If this isn't lazy, I don't know what is anymore. And Mason says that they should drop Nab-Nab, Sheriff Toadster, and Slow Celine. Nab-Nab because he's creepy. Sheriff Toadster, I wrote Roadster because they already dropped him. And Slow Celine because iPad babies can barely keep their focus on for longer than 2 seconds thanks to TikTok and Skibbity Toilet. And she literally ends the message with a humble "Get good." Event 25. Bouncelia and Bittertits create their own cases thanks to Syringion's knowledge. Behind her back, Sir Dadadoo creates an evil scheme to free his evil siblings from his mother's pouch so he can overthrow the management of the kindergarten. An expedition is sent down to their level, and I quote the wiki directly. Shortly after the plan is created, an expedition is sent down to their level that reveals that they have been creating subcases, aka the mutants below. The expedition also finds out that Sir Dadadoo is planning a rebellion. The expedition team gives everyone except Sir Dadadoo the choice of doing a rebellion and destroying everything they've achieved or not. Case 18, Sir Dadadoo, was not asked this question due to him being very for the bloody battle a rebellion would bring. What? Event 26. Dadadoo starts the rebellion on the kingdom and frees the naughty ones who are inside Bouncelia's pouch. It fails and he is sealed within Bouncelia's pouch by the use of her scepter. Event 27. Miss Mason is informed of the state of the architecture of the ball pit and understands she and Uthman must destroy the kindergarten and leave it behind. She allows the monsters to escape on Bring a Friend Day. They respond saying, "You are my savior. My friends and I will soon escape from our prison, and there will be chaos. Get out of this place while you still can, and this is your only warning." What the fuck? After doing this, she prepares a plan to flee to Spain with Uthman Adam. Why Spain? Event 28. There is no Event 28. Event 29. Uthman is notified by Mason of the ball pit's imminent collapse, and that something bad is gonna happen on Bring a Friend Day, and tells him to get ready for maracas and tacos and pack his bag for Spain. Event 30. Bring a Friend Day. At this point, I'm just reading out the entire fucking post by itself, so here we go. It was planned that all cases would be present and Bring a Friend Day, but they were running late, and the only case ready for presentation was Case 12G, Captain Fiddles, and Case 13, Stinger Flynn. All cases ready for presentation were brought out to the outer section to be presented to all the children, their friends, the workers, and the company owners. The case acted fine and nice. Uthman Adam and Weverly Mason were inside of the facility during the event, but planned to sneak out and board a flight to Madrid, Spain, as they knew that something bad was most likely going to happen with the ball pit, likely to collapse under the extremely large weight of the many children inside of it. Why not just close the ball pit then? Sooner than expected, the ball pit collapsed under the weight, killing the children in the ball pit and setting off a chain reaction that would destroy the facility. Okay. Instantly, Solpheus awakened in the abyss, Banban transformed into his hellish form, and the animalistic instincts of the rest of the mascots were triggered, causing them to break out of their cells and to go on a murderous rampage after the children, workers, and parents. It also triggered something evil to escape deep on level 4 of the kindergarten. Fucking sounds so stupid. One worker left on floor 4 in the employee training sector had stated on a piece of paper that they had heard screams and cries from above and had began to have horrible monsters in his head, such as the unnamed marionette, Queen Bouncelia, and Sheriff Toadster also hear the screams from above. Sheriff Toadster witnesses some of the chaos above and begins to believe his citizens, aka the Banban gang, are now old friends which have gone mad, meaning they are now dirty criminals. Stinger Flynn didn't participate in the rampage, but took the time to plan something. He instead took the children and some of the important workers, such as Weverly Mason, but it is unknown if Uthman Adam was kidnapped as well, or if he was murdered. Stinger Flynn even saved children from other monsters just so he could kidnap them. We know this from an unknown kid writing, "The nice jellyfish saved us from the big bird and the evil red man. We are going to the jellyfish's home." The same unknown child also wrote before, "I am hiding in a room, but I have to fight the monster," with a drawing of Opila Bird attacking them. This was the beginning of the end of the facility. During Bring a Friend Day, a surgery was taking place in the arboreal/aquatic sector, whatever that is. The surgery was taking place on Nabnalina's lifeless body. They had completed everything except the Juvanium injections, but before they could complete the final steps to bring Nabnalina to life, they hear screams coming from above. Nab begins to break out of his containment, causing the doctors to abort the surgery. They eventually suffered an unknown fate, of course. Stinger Flynn first takes the kids and workers hiding in the purple room, then the workers hiding in the break room. He then holds them temporarily in the level 3 cafeteria, even letting them play with crayons. One of them had been drawing pants on Captain Fiddles. At some point, the children either escape or are taken by something else. And that is about as much as I will let my sanity and your sanity dry up reading this fucking story. There isn't too much happening in between Event 30 and the day that the player goes into the kindergarten, except for a few workers dying off and whatnot. There really isn't anything that drives the story further between these 2 points. But what I want to point out was that the Bring a Friend Day takes place in October of 2016, apparently, but if we're going off the wiki, the player doesn't enter the kindergarten until 2017, so a 3-month gap. Your kids are fucking dead, my guy. And I also started wondering, where the fuck is the military and the government in all of this? A kindergarten goes into chaos, and a lot of kids are presumably dead, and there are living mascots that aren't animatronics or Jared Fogle in a costume. And you're telling me nobody's batting a fucking eye? Fucking Christ. At least in FNAF, I can see it making sense. Some security guard or whatever abducting and killing some kids, and then probably pretending that they just went missing somehow. I don't really know because I have not played FNAF. And I'm not going to. But you do see what I'm trying to say, right? It's not realistic at all. The story doesn't make any sense, and I promise you that it makes less sense the more you read. You know, sometimes I think a good story is actually filled in by your own imagination. A lot of the plot points just do whatever the fuck they want. And they're more like coincidences and or excuses made by the Banban Bros trying to make a somewhat coherent story, if at all. For example, why is Banbalina so nice to us when she's the teacher? I mean, she still kills us when we're wrong, but then chases us at the end of the second chapter. I know it's because we skipped school, but then she's nice to us in the section where Jumbo Josh is watching over us, which is in chapter 3. Do you understand why I hate the story? Why is she randomly nice now? With all of these points made about the series and the Banban Bros alike, I can't really call it anything other than a poor but successful attempt at a cash grab and getting rich off of a game. Making money should not be the main concern when you're making a game. I mean, it's obviously the main concern when there's a fucking merch button in the menu at launch and a link to the second chapter on Steam that wasn't out yet at the time. If you want to make money as a game developer, you go work for a studio. If you want to make a good and unique story that you want to share with the world, you make an indie game. Under next to no circumstances should your main concern be money, at least that's what I think. This is a cash grab, and that is all I'm going to call it really. The Banban Bros seem like amateurs to me, and I especially don't like that several chapters have been released within a year. That should say something about how easy it is to make every part of this game. Garten of Banban 7 is announced to release this year, according to the Steam page, so who knows what will happen in that one. All I know is that I will not be there with my money or support until they put together a coherent game that is worth my time and money, and neither should you. Remember at the start of my video, in my haiku, when I called the Banban Bros scum? Well, that's because they call people like me scum as well, so it's fair game. I'm the underdog after all. Apparently, refunding a game that isn't good enough or worth your money is scummy behavior. That's a fair statement if it wasn't for the fact that the games are mostly well under 2 hours. But that 2-hour window for being able to refund your games on Steam are getting shorter when the Banban Bros decide to add insanely long hallways, overcomplicated and horrible puzzles that are poorly explained, and sequences that make you wait longer than Hachiko the fucking dog. I'm struggling to end the video, but I think I'll end it like this. The Banban Bros seemingly never takes any criticism well, and seeing as how they have made 6 to 5 games in a single year alone, kinda shows you how rushed and lazily produced they all are. And also judging by their past behavior, they come off as amateurs, and it seems like they're just in it for the money. So if I were you, I would not give these two amateurs a single coin until they produce something that isn't just a large hallway, and until they stop writing a script that has no meaning whatsoever, and until they stop adding a new character only because they can't drive the story further without it. And I would especially not support them until they stop giving every model 1 billion trillion vertices for some stupid fucking reason. But there's also something weirdly positive to take away from this. Banban Bros are a prime example of why you should never give up. If you keep chipping away at something and try your best, then eventually it might become a success. And so, I must say, Garten of Banban is a success story, just not exactly one we should applaud, unless you are a greedy bastard in it for the money, and you're willing to put as little effort as possible into a game, and hoping it for some stupid reason blows up. If I were you, I would not support these two. Anyway, that's the end of my fucking video.